Hello. Today we are going to discuss further on how we are going to shard our data. So first question comes is why we need to shard or partition our data. Main issue is that even if you can add several web applications on top of it, given that how much request you are getting, how many requests you are getting, but what will happen is that all of them ultimately are going with one data storage itself, and the limitations how many connections this data storage can serve is always fixed. So what will happen, suppose it gives you maximum 2000 connections at a time you can have, and here with all of these you started with 200 threads, you can go maximum 10 applications. Beyond that you cannot scale it. So scalability is one of the main issue if you are not sharding your data. So what happens is that we have to shard our data to increase scalability. What will happen in that case? So what will happen is that suppose you can add multiple web servers, and as you have provided sharding on the data, sharding means partitioning. Sharding and partitioning are not synonymous, but here we are taking sharding and partitioning as synonymous. So suppose some data is stored in this DB and some part of is stored in this DB. So requests which are coming, so they might suppose this application they landed, some of them go here, some of them go here, or similarly here, some of them go here. For this also, so out of this you have got, if you earlier you are able to serve maximum of 2000 connections, now you can serve 4000 connections. So depending upon how we shard data, we can always utilize our threads, and what we can do is we can scale. So first part of sharding we can think of is like if we want to shard on the user basis. So how you should start your designing is that you start with partitioning data and then give a pros and cons for that, and then again try to improve it. On the basis of user ID, if we shard and suppose we want to shard it into 10 databases, and what we can do is user ID percentage 10, and then we can always find out that which user will go to which sharded database. And now point comes is that we have to generate a photo ID for that particular user. What we can do is inside this particular database we can have an auto increment key which will be used for this photo ID generation. So as this part of this thing, it looks perfectly fine that you get almost 10 shards where all the users will be getting data getting stored. But what will happen is that suppose one of the user, which is very famous person or celebrity, he uploaded a data. That photo everyone wants to see. So what will happen is that that particular photo is available in a particular shard, and then when everyone will start bombarding this thing, so what will happen? Your one shard will get choked. Or what can happen is that if there are few users who uploads photos very frequently, and all of them lie in a similar shard, so again then also it will become a choking or bottleneck for you. So this is not a good way to shard data on the basis of user ID. So let's try to explore further. So what we can do is what we can shard data on photo ID. If we are sharding data on photo ID, then we have to generate photo ID upfront, and then shard on top of it that photo ID percent 10, and then find out shard which shard it will go, and then we have to store data there. By this what will happen, photos are distributed kind of evenly, they are not skewed. So by this way what will happen, even if someone is uploading too many photos, there are the high chances that all of them, some photos go to some shard and some photo go to some shard, and all this way it will be kind of not a skewed data, and it will be evenly distributed data, so it will be helpful. There is one issue is that how we will be having this key generation for photo ID. For this, what we can have is like we can have two servers which are generating auto increment key number. They are just giving the numbers. One is increasing starting from 1, another is starting from 0. This is increasing by 2, this is also increasing by 2. So you get at least two servers which are providing you keys. Or you can have your standard URL design one where you can have a KSG, key service generator, which will keep generating keys depending upon what all the things we know about the URL system, URL designing system, which will be discussing later. So that will also help. So for now, we will take two servers which will be generating keys auto increment. One will be increasing by 2, one will be increasing by, another will also increasing by 2. One will be starting with 1, another will be starting with 0. So this way it will be, next key it will generate 3, this will generate 2, then it will be 5 and 4. So you always have 2 which you can load balance and will always get a key. It will be also highly reliable and scalable as well. So these are the things which we can do for